media and my Chalk Couture, because if you've watched Chalk Couture, you know that this, my Chalk Couture videos, and follow me on there, this is the May Club Couture Transfer, and I did a demo just showing how to take this and put it on fabric. If you want to join, there is my website. If you want to get whatever, all I used was this transfer, the chalkology ink in black, which is black velvet, I believe. Yes, black velvet, and of course a squeegee that I didn't clean. Oh yeah, a squeegee that I didn't clean. Let me clean that up real quick here before I have it everywhere. I normally scrape it back off into the container, but I used way too much ink and had ink quite literally everywhere. It was bad. I was cleaning ink for a while. And I do show that in the video because I believe in being real. You know, I don't do things perfect. If you watch my art videos, you know that. If you watch my Chalk Couture videos, you know that. I don't do anything perfect. My thing is to have fun and make something cute. And if it can't be cute, at least it was fun. All right, let me finish cleaning me up again before I spread this ink everywhere. It's a super cute vintage transfer, and you got a little bit of a, well, you know what? This becomes that. All right. So all I did was take some leftover, I forget what you call this. Okay, it's kind of like canvas, but it's real lightweight, okay? I forget what you call it. Fabric's not my thing. Okay, but I want to make a art journal. And what I'm thinking is that I'm going to use this kind of in half like this for the front and then also the back, all right? That's my working theory. Because I don't want one this big, and I like the idea of it being the front and the back, and being half of the design, you know? I don't know. I like that. I think it's pretty cool. So that's my thought, but we have to make the journal before we can cover it. All right. So we're going to set this little darling aside for right now, and I have got my 300 GSM weight watercolor paper. I'm going to use Strathmore. You can use whatever you have. I do like a heavier weight paper, all right? And we're going to have to start with some math. So this is 12 by 18, and I think I kind of want my journal to be kind of longer. So let's see how this is 6. So I don't really need to go any wider than 5 so that I have wrap room. Okay. And then my design is 7 1/4. So really, I can go anything under 7 and be fine. So I'm thinking 5 by 7. You know, 5 tall, 7 long. Maybe even 7 1/2. If I do 7 1/2, I'll even get the sides. I won't get the top, but that's okay because there's not a bottom. And I still have plenty to wrap around because I did leave myself some extra edge here. Did I fold this exactly in half? Let's see here. It's 12, so yes, 6 is half. All right, so yeah, I'm thinking 5 by 7.5. Okay, I'm thinking 5 by 7.5. Which means my strips need to be 5 by 14. And this is 12 by 18. So that will work. And I'll have just a little waist. Okay. I need 9 strips. So that's 5 sheets. Because what I'm going to do, if you have seen me using my little glue journals, I want to make this same kind of journal because I'm really loving these really heavy pages that I made here. And this is a super quick and easy, unless I want to sew it. Do I want to sew it? Do I want to sew it? No, I don't want to sew it. I'm liking this quick and easy, and I like these really hard pages. And this is 2 pieces of this, so it's twice the weight. And I really am loving that weight of my pages. So yeah, we're sticking with that. Okay, so we need 5 sheets of this, and then we're going to cut them down. All right, let's go. So, this is 12. So, let's start by cutting off down to 14. Because we know we want 14 for our first cut. Right, and this is our scrappy leftovers, but we want them to be usable, so I'm going to go in and cut that off as well. And throw that away. And what is this? This is 4 by 12. That'd be a good size for, 4 by 6 would be a great size for, you know, if we made our journal pages 4 by 6, what would that look like? Where's our cover? Oh, that would be pretty cute. Do we want to go smaller? See, this is the whole thing. I get started and then I'm undecided. I'd lose this, but I would still have the whole of the actual design. And I would make my cover just a hair larger anyway. I think that's what that is, 4 by 6. 4 by, yep, 6. I like that. Let's do that. I don't know. I'm liking the size of that page. All right. So there's our 4. Oh, and I didn't get it completely cut. Of course I didn't. And then that leaves out a scrap. Okay. So let's keep going. actually, I'm going to cut 4x6 strips. I'm going to turn this off. You don't need to watch me do that over and over and over, right? Right. Okay, so I cut 3 sheets of the big paper instead of 5, since I'd made the smaller pages. And then I cut 2 pieces that are, these are 4x12, all right, to fold into a 4x6. So these I made 5 by 6 1/4. All right, here's why. Because the bounding we're gonna do, this is gonna glue onto this page, but we're gonna glue flush with this end, right? See, like that. So I wanted the same allowance all the way around. So I had to make this 1/2 inch longer and this just 1/4, because this is going to be flush. All right, does that make sense? All right, so 4x12s, I cut 10 of them, but you can cut as many as you want, okay? The more you have, just the more pages you have. But because I want a little overhang on my covers, I cut them 5 by 6 1/2. Sorry, 5 by 6 1/2 so that it's 1/2 inch all on each side, except for the back, which is flush. All right, had to think. Is that right? Yes, because this is 1 inch wider than this. This is 1/2 inch wider than this. Yes. That's what I did. Hope y'all figured that out, because it took me a little while. All right, so now we're gonna do 2 things. All right, the first is, and I do own bone folders. I'm gonna tell you, I do like my gold scissors. They're heavy, okay? I just like to use them instead of a bone folder. So we're gonna crease all of these pieces in half. Now remember, I have 10, but however many of these you have, just determine how thick your book is, all right? So, and we're gonna do a glued binding. Very important that you understand we're doing a glued binding, all right? Not a stitched. Just because I want that double weight on my paper. You can do everything that I'm telling you to do and then stitch it to something if you want, just by changing how you make your cover, okay? So if instead of having just these 2, if I took one of my scraps and covered all 3 of these, all right, I could make a cover that way and stitch into this, okay? But instead, I'm going to fold up all of these. I'm going to glue them to each other, then I'm going to glue their spines, and then I'm going to glue the cover, okay? So, if you don't like a glued book, you can totally adapt this at this point right here by how you make your cover, by adding in a centerpiece and then stitch into your center, okay? Okay. And pamphlet stitch, there are tons of directions on the pamphlet stitch, including here on my channel. I have pamphlet stitch directions, the easiest sewn binding. But I want to glue this one just because I'm liking that super heavy weight of the glued pages. All right, so last I'm going to talk about stitching, because we're not stitching, we're gluing. All right, so put it in half, right? And then take your bone folder, or in my case, my super heavy scissors. Burnish this side, burnish this side. Turn it wrong side out. Make sure it is still lining up square. And then do it again. Okay? Now, I'm going to do another one. But you're going to do that for all of these until you have them all done. So, line it up. Okay, just like so. Get it just as perfect as you can get it. Your larger cover is going to give you some coverage if you have some ellipses, but, you know, we just prefer not to have too many. Okay, waller that down by starting in the middle. Then with your heavy scissors, again, starting in the middle, burnish it out. Okay, turn it over. Turn it wrong side. Make sure it's still square. Starting in the center. And then Okay, I'm going to do the rest of these off camera. But first, let's do this. Because while I'm folding all these, this can be drying. So I'm going to set them aside right this second. And we're going to talk about this. Okay, so here is our cover. Okay, and there are two halves, right? But here's the thing. We can't put it like that because we've got to have room for it to fold. So we are going to lose just a little bit of our design. It'll be fine. Okay? So what I'm going to do is, without paying any attention whatsoever to my design, I'm going to fold this completely in half. Notch it. All right. If this hurts your soul, don't look. It was quick and painless. And now I have two. All right. So, look, we made this. We can make another. That transfer will make, I think it's guaranteed for 12, but I've made more than 12 with some of them if you take good care of them. So, don't panic. You can make another. All right. So now that having hurt your soul, we're going to take these, we're going to turn them wrong side, and we're just going to glue these down. Now, if you look, I am worried more about my allowance than my design, okay? Because I promise it's going to end up cute. It's gonna. But we gotta have the allowance or it's not gonna end up sturdy. All right, Fabri-Tac is your glue of choice here, all right? So, but I don't have my Fabri-Tac back here. So my second one is clear gel tacky glue, all right? Fabri-Tac would be my best choice, but I don't know exactly where it is right now. So, do what you do. All right, here we go. I'm just gonna take this, put it on here, just like so, and don't be stingy. And then turn it over. Again, paying more attention to my fold overs than my design. Okay, now I like to use an old credit card or hotel room key to do this. Just smush that glue out. All right, just smush it out. If your fabric shifts, just pull it back. All of this is wet right now, and that is one thing about Fabri-Tac or clear tacky glue. It takes a little while to dry. You've got some time here, all right? But you want to make sure you don't have any glue clumps or air bubbles, all right? So, there's one. Now let's do this one. Oop, and I turned this upside right, and it all ran to the bottom. Okay, I think we've got it down, shook down. All right, turn him over. Pay more attention to your wrap than your design. Don't worry about it. We'll make it cute. Okay, spread him out. Yeah, quite a bit of glue came out. Hang on. Over. Make sure your glue is all spread out nice and gorgeous. just like that. Now turning back over. And let's go back to this one. Alright, so now then what you want to do is you're going to fold these in like so, alright? But when you fold these in, you don't want this double clump of fabric here, so you need to cut these, alright? So I just kind of pinch it like so. Just kind of grab that corner, pinch it, and clip. Everybody kind of does this a little bit different, but that's kind of how I do mine. It keeps you from getting in the wrong place or too close to that corner, in my opinion, because you do need some of it left. You just don't want all of it. So just pinch it up and then cut it off. This is probably not the way you're going to see anybody else tell you to do it, but you find what works for you, do that. Okay. Now, these are my skinnier sides, so I am going to do them first. But I'm going to do them the exact same way. All right? I'm going to take this, I'm going to put... I'm going to shake it like heck to get it all down. I'm going to put some glue on here and on the paper. Okay? Both. And I'm going to do it on both sides. Okay. Put the lid on, and this time I'll remember to stand it up while I do this. Okay, now you're gonna get messy. Just own it. Take this, pull it over, and then just scrape it. Alright? And you do want to do this on something that's not going to stick to, because you're going to get glue on everything. So if you don't have a non-stick mat, if you don't have one of these, you don't have a non-stick mat, you don't have a craft mat, you can go to the Dollar Tree, get one of those glass mats or cutting mats from there. The slick plastic cutting mats they have there, you can do them on those as well. Right? It's not 100% the same, but it'll work. Okay, now then, same thing here, glue, and glue, okay, and same thing down here, glue, turn it. Somehow this one got cut in the wrong direction, probably because I was talking, and this one didn't get cut at all. Okay, let me get the glue off my scissors. Alright, pull these down good and tight, and then just scrape. If you got glue on your cutting mat, just pick it up and use it. Okay, just like that. And same thing again. Just like that. All right. And See, I told you it'd be cute. All right, I'm gonna set that aside while we do this. Glue, oh, corners. Alright, I've got some wax paper here. I'm going to put one down. Oh, I didn't show you the other side. Oh my gosh, look how cute that's going to be. Alright, I'm going to put one down. Fold the wax paper over. Put the other one down. Fold. We'll put them right. Fold the wax paper over. Okay. Now I'm going to take these and set them under something heavy, books, to dry. So that as they dry, they will dry flat. Okay? That is a little important. That's a lot important. But you do want them to dry flat. Right? So let's just set them aside. I'm going to fold the rest of these. Alright? And then I'm going to come back. Okay, so all my little pages are now folded, okay? Now, what we are making is we are making a journal just like this, okay? This is the journal I made. I made 2 of them for my 5-minute challenge, which is the project I'm doing after the happenstance, okay? And the exact same method I'm doing for this, I did for this, except I didn't do an extra cover. I just didn't clip these corners and wrapped it, okay? But I wanted this the cover for this to have the fabric, and I want it to completely wrap around, so I'm making that one change. But the things that I like about this journal, I like the weight of doubling the paper. I like the curved inside pages and the square cover, okay? And I like how easy it is to make. We are going to repeat both of those. We're going to leave the corners on the cover square, which we have already done when we covered it. But our inside pages, we are going to round. Now here's the thing. When you glue these, because remember this is a glued book, we're going to take this page and we are going to glue these 2 together, and these 2 pages actually become one. That's how we get that super heavy page, okay? What that means though is these 2 pages need to match up. So when you round your corners, I do recommend a corner rounder. If you don't have one, okay? If you don't have one, glue your pages before you round them. Let them completely dry and then round them with scissors so that you're cutting it all at one time, okay? But if you have a corner rounder, you have to do it first because once you get this doubled, your corner rounder isn't going to go through 600 GSM paper at that point, plus glue, all right? So I'm going to go through and I am going to round all the covers, except I'm not going to round the first side of the first page because this is going to glue into our cover, right? Right. And I'm not going to do the last page of the last set for the same reason. They're going to glue into the cover, so I want them square like the cover, okay? But all of these middle pages, I'm going to round. And that's super easy if you have a corner rounder. Like I said, if you don't, then you're going to do this after you hang on. Then you do this after you've glued. But see, if you do it like that, then they match. Oh, hang on. Let me get them lined back up. They match perfect because it's the same corner rounder. Okay? Very important. Otherwise, your page will be wompy jawed. Don't make your page wompy jawed. Okay? So, the first one is going to be square round. The last one is going to be round square. Other than that, all the others are going to be rounded on both ends. So, we'll make this one the first one, this one the last one, and we're going to round all of these on all sides. Okay? And again, you don't need to watch me do that. So I'll be back. Okay, so very first one, square. Everybody else, rounded until you get to the very last one, okay? Now, if you don't want to do a fabric wrap on these and you want to make yours just like mine, this is where I stopped on this one. And then I just glued, as you can see, I just glued the fabric all the way up to the edge on each side and then wrapped it around and then covered the wrap, okay? So you can totally do this if you don't want to do the fabric, although the Chalk Couture trick I showed you, totally easy, totally cute. Or if you don't want that wider cover. If you want if you want this look, but you want to do the fabric, just cut your square the exact same size, okay? But I wanted that allowance because I want, if I have things sticking out of here, I want them to be inside my cover on this one, all right? Because I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it. Well, I do know what I'm going to do with it. I'll show you. I talked about this the other day. So after we finish all the Ugly Art 5-minute challenges, I ordered these, and I haven't opened them yet. I'm not going to open them until we're ready to play with them a little bit. But they're the Color Meditation deck, and they have things on here. There's 62 mix and match cards. Okay, I don't exactly know what's on the cards. Someone else had recommended these to me for our journaling prompt cards. You just draw the card and let the card inspire you. I don't know what the cards say. I haven't opened it. And the back doesn't really make it that clear either. But we're going to do this in this journal. But because I don't know what the prompts are, I don't really know what I'm going to end up doing. So I want my journal to be forgiving. All right. So at this point, what do? Well, I just use a glue stick. It is a good glue stick. Don't go to the Dollar Tree. This is an Avery acid-free glue stick, all right? Now, I always thought glue sticks were crap. It's because I didn't know how to use a glue stick, which you're thinking that's crazy. Everyone knows how to use a glue stick. Do you? Because I didn't. Heat and pressure are what activate glue in a glue stick to stick, and I didn't know that. So, when you go to glue this to this, okay, you're going to put glue on both. The reason you're going to put glue on both is if you have glue on both, you have a little more slide, where if you only put glue on one, you have instantaneous grip. What that means is that you have more working time with your glue to get things lined up perfectly. Okay, so that's your first tip. I didn't know until Seth Apter. Seth Apter does gallery quality collage with a Avery glue stick. And I thought, how? Glue sticks are crap. Well, they aren't if you know what you're doing. Okay, so now then I'm going to line these two up, right, just like so. And this is why it's important that I've got glue on both, because I can move them around. Okay, get them nice and straight and everybody lined up with everybody, all right? And then heat and pressure from your hand makes the glue work. And I didn't know that. I just stuck them together and moved on. But yeah, so you see me a lot of times when I'm doing the art videos, I cut out after I do my glow stick. There's a hard cut usually, or a fade out and fade in, so that you don't see me doing this for a few minutes, because I want to make sure I've got enough heat and pressure that my glue is good and activated and going to stay. Just like that. Now, why do we do that? What is it about I like? Do you see this piece that's single? See how it bends and bobbles and always so flimsy? Now look at this one that's doubled. Okay? And when his glue is completely dry, he'll be even firmer. Okay? That's why I love this firmer paper for these books. And this is how you get it. Okay? So, now then, same thing again. I'm going to put glue on this one, and heat and pressure to activate. Yeah, I always did think that glue sticks were just a waste of time and money, and I thought I wish they were better because, you know, they're so handy, especially when you're doing a travel journal. You know, you don't want to take matte medium with you everywhere. You don't want to take, you know, art glitter glue with you everywhere. You don't want it in your suitcase to get on everything. And I always thought I wished it was better. And then I watched him talking about the wonders of glue. And I thought, well, that's ridiculous. Everybody knows how to use glue. And then realized, yeah, except me. I don't know how to use glue. All right, so let's get these two lined up good and proper all the way down. And again, that's why we put it on both sides, because it's so easy to wiggle them if they're on both pieces. If they're not on both pieces, they are not easy to wiggle. Okay, he needs to come up, he needs to come down. There we go. There we go. And then you need to slide over. Just like that. All right, now heat and pressure. If you don't like the feel of this, this is also where you'll see me do this. It makes your hand glide over a little better. I'm not sure that it doesn't change the amount of heat you get, but it definitely doesn't change the amount of pressure you get. So, like, this is extremely textured because it's cold pressed water paper. And it kind of does make some friction on my hand, you know, doing this. So if that bothers you, you can do this. Just maybe make sure you do some of the hand-to-hand, direct hand too. All right. But, all right, so that's what we're doing. So you're just going to repeat that until all of these are glued. All right. So I'm going to turn off the camera. I'm going to glue the rest of these to this. And then, what time is it? I'm probably going to call it a night. And we'll do the rest tomorrow. Because what we have to do after that is we're going to glue the cover to these two. All right. The cover to these two. And then we're going to fill this back with glue. And then it has to sit up again. So this is not a quick project, and depending on how you do your cover, it does take even a little bit longer. So yeah, this is gonna take us about 3 days just because of the drying time, because you want everything good and dry. I really want this really good and dry before I add my cover and then add my glue. When I did the little ones, I did do them all in one sitting. But as you can look at them, you can see things shifted because all the glue was still wet. And I don't want things to shift on this one, so I want to let everything dry. Okay, so I'm going to finish gluing all these pages to this now forming book, and then I'll let everything dry, and we'll be back tomorrow. Bye, y'all. Okay, I know I said I was going to wait till tomorrow, but I'm fixing to put the last one on, and I can't stress this enough to remind you that the last one should have the square on the top. And the other thing I forgot to tell you is that I'm going to put this under books as well to weight it down so that it dries flat. But before I do that, I will clip it as well. So I have just these little office clips like this, and I will clip it. Hang on, I can't talk and line up. I will clip it as well to keep them all super tight to each other, and then I'll put them under books to keep them completely flat as well. Okay, so, and to make sure that this stays pretty square, because here's the thing, as you're moving these and rubbing them, sometimes that middle wants to sink in a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. See how it's kind of sunk in a little bit? And so that means these pages right here push out a little bit. And so I just want to push them back down before they're all set up as best I can. Okay, just like that. Just like that. And okay, other than right there. Okay, but you want to make sure you try to get everything just as square as you can get it, because once all that glue sets up, it's done. That's where it is. All right, so I'm going to go on and take these clips, and I'll put one on this side, and I will put one on this side. Hey everybody, okay, so I have undone and clipped my journal, and it is good and dry. And see how sturdy these pages are? I mean, this is why I love this kind of journal. I love these pages. All right, so this is good and dry, and as you can see, because we kept it clipped with the extra little bit, it's really tight at the top, and that's important. All right, so the covers weren't. So I used my heat gun to finish drying them off, but they curl up a little bit when you use the heat gun, so I'm going to put them under books to flatten them back out while we work on this part. Okay, so at this part, what you need is you need to do a glued spine, okay? So we've already glued the pages. We're going to glue the cover, but you need also to do a glued spine. When I did these little ones, I did the cover first and then glued the spine so that the edge of this paper would be under the glue, okay? So that it wouldn't come up, right? Right. But two things. One, the covers are wrapped, so we don't have a raw edge here. So that's not an issue. Second, the cover is larger than the book, where this cover is the same size as the book. See? And I don't have a larger clip. If I was going to try and put the covers on first and then glue the spine, which I could do, I would need a much larger clip so that it reached in past that extra amount of cover and still clipped a good portion of this. And if I reached around that cover, well, you'd see it would just barely have my book clipped, okay? So if you're going to make many of these books, you probably do want to invest in a bookbinding, some bookbinding supplies, because they have one. It's two pieces of wood, but they have a screw clamp that tightens it down so that it'll do multiple widths of books, all right? But I don't make enough to be worth buying that, so I just kind of figure out what I have and what I can. Also, they sell bookbinding glue, and that is normally what you'd put here, but again, I don't do enough books to want to buy bookbinding glue. So I'm going to use my glitter glue. Now, here's the thing. I broke my original pen that came with my glitter glue. So that's not a stainless steel pen, and it does rust. So I've got to get the rusty part out, and then we're good to go. Okay, so you just want to put a lot of glue on here. You can use whatever glue you have. You can use PVC, you can use glitter glue. You can use the tacky glue, although the tacky glue does stay a little stickier, even when it's, hang on, he's not wanting to flow, and I don't want that to start drying. There we go. The tacky glue does stay tacky, obviously, tacky glue, tacky. And I don't want it to be tacky. I want it to set up. So, because there's not going to be anything on top of this. Hang on. I've got a blockage of some kind here. All right, let's try it again now. There we go. I'm going to put rust back in it, but that's okay. All right, but you do want a lot because you want it to fill those gaps. And then just take your finger and kind of level it off and let it sink down. Now, there shouldn't be a lot to sink because hopefully you got a good press the first time. But we are now going to let that dry, and I got to get all this glue off of me. So we're going to let that dry before we put the cover on. And like I said, it's just because I don't have a bigger clip to hold the book tight, because you don't want the spine to relax. You want a good tight spine here. You want the glue to fill in any gaps, but also finish off that edge. Okay, so we're going to let this dry. We're going to let this sit under the weight again. And then, once they're all dry, the only thing left to do is, let's do this without hitting it on anything, because I don't think it'll do. We'll just drip off. Glue this cover on. And then, we'll be done. And isn't it going to be cute? It's going to be so cute. So cute. So cute. Okay. And if you want, you can also, once this glue is dry, I can take black paint and I can paint over that, or gold, and paint that if you want it to have a colored edge. All right, you put these back under here, because while they are dry now, you can see they're not as straight as you would want them to be, and that's because I use the heat gun. But I'll put them back under these books, and they will be held flat, pressed flat, while that dries. All right, we are getting super close to being done with making this new journal, and super close to starting our next little book. All right, bye y'all. Morning. All right, we're ready to finish this journal this morning. I've been a horrible kitten mother. I told them they couldn't come in here because they have to eat their breakfast. Horrible kitten mother. All right, so everything should be completely and utterly dry at this point and flat. And they are. They look great. Okay. These were a little damp apparently because they're wanting to stick to each other. All right, but not bad. So, okay, so we're flat and dry, right? Those are covers. And our spine completely sealed and dry. And you can tell if you have enough glue because your entire sponge should feel slick. When you do this, if your fingers drag, you've got places you don't have glue. Oh, all right. So the only thing left to do is glue this on, but I do think, let's trial run it. I do think, I kind of like, all right, because I have a pen, I have a little bit of rust, and I was thinking I was going to make that black, but I kind of like the little bit of rust. I kind of do. In fact, I wish there was more. And I do have rust that I could make it rusty. And I picked up a little something off my mat there that was brown, and I kind of like that. Because I don't want it to look pristine and new, right? I want it to look old. So I think I'm going to let my spine go just the way it is. I don't know if y'all can see. This, see those little rust dots? Or because I bent my original pen, and I thought all sewing pens were stainless, and they're not. So this one, it keeps rusting. It puts rust in my glue. So that's what that is. And I thought I had gotten it out, but then I didn't get it all out. But I kind of like it because it's supposed to look old. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Y'all know I will talk forever, especially first thing in the morning. I'm very talkative in the morning. All right, let's get these out of the way. They have done their job. And let's glue these on. All right, so I'm just going to glue these on. We're going to call it done, except I do want to get some kind of paper. I forgot, because I don't want that to be my look. I want to put some kind of black and white paper. And I forgot to find the black and white paper, because I do want something kind of vintagey looking. And I do want something that's going to match for both sides. Okay. So, I don't think y'all can see that. Hang on, I'll turn it. All right. Gasoline. Route 66. So I'm going to glue this right there, and I'm going to glue this right there. But I think I want, quite straight. There we go. But what I'm saying though is, let me just move y'all. I think I want pretty paper right here, you know. I don't think I want the white paper because I never do anything to my covers. Now I can do it now, I can do it later, but I haven't grabbed any. So, But you know what? I have got just old book page and sheet music. So why don't we see what's volunteering by sticking up? I've got some old sheet music that was just quite literally sticking up. So we could do, this is, oh, this is from the actual, like just the text. Do I have another sheet of that? There's a certificate of merit. This was just a piano book, and I just tore it up and, let's see. Okay, I kind of like that, and here's why. Because this is my front cover, and so this could be, this certificate of merit could kind of be your book plate. I couldn't think of the word this morning, y'all. Oh, so if I cut this down, this could be my book plate to, you know, put my name when I finish the journal. That'd be super cute. And then on the back, that kind of just looks like an ad. And I like that. Okay, so there are our papers. Pretty easy. Okay, so with that, we've got our covers, we've got our inside plates, and we've got our glue. Let's do it. And we've got our coffee. Now let's do it. Alright, y'all, I love it. I mean, I love it. That is so cute. Okay, back. Alright, I think I actually like this better just because of the different font sizes. Because it doesn't really matter what it says. And while that's really cute, that's way more interesting. So we're going to flip it over. Alright. Alright, so now we gotta draw again. So I did take my plastic because the glitter glue won't really stick to this. It will to most everything else, but it won't stick to this super slick packaging plastic. And I'm gonna press it again so that it will once again be flat, alright? The main thing that when you were doing this, if you couldn't tell, was to make sure this is flush and this is flush, right? Where your journal is inside is extremely forgiving, right? Your covers need to match. So hopefully, if you've never made a journal, you just watched me do this over these last couple of days and thought, okay, it might be a little time consuming, but it's super easy and it's super cheap. And it is super cheap because this fabric is leftover fabric that I got at a rummage sale. I got this fabric at a rummage sale. Yeah. The paper was one tablet of paper that I ended up using 3 sheets of. And that entire pad, okay, it's a big one, so it is kind of pricey. Let me see if it still has a price tag on it. But I just get this at Hobby Lobby, y'all, or Michael's, I can't remember which. I think this one might come from Michael's. Does it have a price? It doesn't, but I don't think it's more than $20, $25, and there's 12 sheets in here, and we used 3, okay? Then, of course, I used this month's Chalk Couture, Club Couture stencil transfer, y'all. But the reason I'm crossing my words again is I would love if you went to my website and you joined my Club Couture and you made projects with me every month. I would love that. Love it, love it, love it. But you can do this with any stencil, quite honestly. I do like the ink because when it heat set, it's like, well, it's kind of like plastic or rubber on there. And it is durable. It is durable. So I do like that. But same thing, you can do it. You cannot use this transfer and acrylic paint. It'll mess up the transfer because it has fine mesh in there. It's kind of like a cross between a stencil and a screen printing if you do mixed media, okay? So since it's got that super fine screening in there, if you use acrylic paint, it will build up over time and mess up your transfer. So if you're going to do the transfer, I do recommend the ink, but I love the way the ink sits. I really do. You do have to heat set it, which you saw me do on the last video. And if you didn't see it, check it out. It's on my YouTube. Or I have a Mickey's Niche Creations for my Chalk Couture creations. And I post some of my regular art stuff over there as well. But anyway, but if you don't have this and you don't want to go to my website and buy it, you can do it with any regular stencil and acrylic paint. And you can heat set acrylic paint. Acrylic paint does have like a kind of plasticky to it. I've never actually done it for this purpose. I've done it for transfer purposes. But I've never done it for this. Maybe we need to try that one day. But anyway, so it's a super cheap project. And if you went and bought this journal, it would probably cost you about $20. Well, for the cost of one pad of paper, you can make 4 of these. So it's a little time consuming, but it's not actually time consuming. I think this video is probably going to end up right at an hour. And most of the time is letting things dry. That's most of your time. So on that note, I shall put this back under its books to let everything completely dry. And I'll come back when we have a finished project. Bye, y'all. Alright, y'all. It hasn't been as long as the other times because art glitter glue dries really fast. So it's only been, I don't know, an hour and a half. Not even long enough to finish the coffee portion of my morning. So it is completely done. It is completely done. And totally and completely in love with it. And I can't wait to play in it. I love how thick the pages are. I love the cover. I love the inside papers, even though they were, spur of the moment-y. I do love them. I do love them. So, I encourage you to make your own journal. Now, I will tell you a couple of things that I thought of while this was drying. And the first is I don't normally use watercolor paper for my cover, the paper inside my cover, okay? So I thought, I need to tell you why I did. Because I usually use cereal box or, if y'all know me, Belvita box. But I usually use some kind of recycled packaging. The reason I didn't on this is because this paper is very thin, and this fabric is very thin, very sheer, and I knew that you would see it through it, okay? So if you are not using a super sheer fabric like I was, and I'll show you, where's the original fabric? Like, it is super sheer. You can I don't know if on camera you can see. You can see the black under it. You can see the text through it. All right. And if I had used cereal box, I would have had to just so it paint it, get it white in order to cover that up. And it's just a step I didn't want to take. So you don't have to use your good watercolor paper for your covers normally. All right, I had a reason I used it, and I realized that's one of the things I just did and I didn't tell you. Because yeah, usually if you look at any of my journal covers, do I have another journal back here that I've made? All right, like my happenstance journal. All right, this was a food box under here. You can't tell anymore, but I think it was actually a frozen pizza box because I needed a pretty big one, right? So I think it was a frozen pizza box. It is very rare that I actually use good paper because you're not going to see it when it's done. But there's a reason I did in this instance. So if you are using something that you don't have that reason, feel free to use something cheaper. Yeah, always. If you don't want heavy pages like this, use any paper. You can use tablet paper. You can use sketch paper. Now, the lighter the paper, the less likely I would say to glue it because it's going to crinkle, okay? Heavy paper, oh, it just gets fabulous. Light paper crinkles. So then you might want to consider a stitch binding, all right? But I knew I was using heavy paper that I was making heavier, so I used a glue binding. So anyway, there are a lot of things that I did along the way for specific reasons that I realized I didn't tell you what they were. So anyway, if you've got questions about anything, pop them in the comments, because just like there is a reason I used the glued binding, there's a reason I used the good paper under my fabric. There's probably a reason I did whatever you're wondering about. And it could be just as simple as that's what I had. All right? Okay, so y'all, I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope you join my Chalk Couture's Club Couture. Get the transfer of the month, and if you join before the end of May, this is it. I will also tell you, I was thinking about this as well. Father's Day is coming up next month. This would be super cute for Father's Day stuff. On a t-shirt, if he's a messenger bag or tote bag or something kind of guy, you could put it on that. You could put it on a coffee cup and just, you know, wrap it around. And the way you heat set a coffee cup is you put it in the oven. Put it in a cold oven, set the oven for 250. Once the oven gets to temperature, leave it 30 minutes, turn the oven off, wait till the oven and your mug are cooled completely down, then take it out, all right? So you could totally, like, you know, collage almost this onto here. If you're moving a transfer around with ink, let the ink dry. So do one transfer, let the ink dry, clean your stencil. Then doing the next one, let the ink dry, because the ink will smudge until it's heat set. But it's less likely, very, very less, but it is less likely to smudge if you at least let it dry, okay? So Father's Day coming up. You want to make your own Father's Day. This would be super cute. If your dad is someone that likes having a handmade notebook to just carry around and jot his thoughts and notes and whatever in. If he's a truck driver and he writes down his mileage, he likes, you know, he's a writer, he likes to put down quotes, whatever. This would make a super cute, it doesn't have to be an art journal. It could just be a notebook for him to jot his thoughts. And you can make it smaller if you want to make it fit a shirt pocket. All right, so hopefully that gives you lots of ideas, not only for the transfer, also for the journal, and also for just making a journal in general. Bye, y'all. Bye.